Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all our viewers. You are whether Global Chamber members or future members. So first of all, on behalf of Global Chamber Joinville and our team, I would like to wish you all a warm welcome. And as we say here, bem-vindo a todos. So let's get started. The Globinar will be presenting in a few moments, which is called the Lending Business in Brazil. Intends to give you an overview of the country with valuable information if you have a project to expand your business in Brazil. So to this end, our panelists will walk you through various essential aspects of Brazil in 4 sections. So we're going to talk about Brazil economic profile. We're going to talk about legal, tax, and investments matters. We're going to talk about also southern Brazil logistic infrastructure, and finally, cultural specificity. So following these 4 sections, we'll have a session dedicated to questions and answers, okay? So please feel free to type your questions if you have one in the chat box, and we'll submit the question then during the session. And if you have a question we won't have time to answer during the webinar, of course, they will be collected and we'll answer them as soon as possible. So the first speaker we have today is Julia Baranova. So Julia Baranova is an international business executive with over 17 years of experience in foreign trade and the global supply chain, working in different industries such as oil and gas, aerospace, defense, telecommunications, and commodities. She's the head of foreign trade and the executive secretary for international affairs of Santa Catarina State in Brazil. Julia is also co-founder of BeGlobal Consultancy, specialized in business development strategies and tailor-made solutions for the internationalization of technology-based companies. So please, Julia, it's for you. You're on mute, Julia, you're on mute.
You are on mute.
Okay, so good afternoon, everybody. Thank you very much for your presence today. Thank you very much, Phil, for your kind introduction. So I will share my screen with you just to show the presentation that I have prepared for today. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, great. So the topic I would like to cover today is about Brazilian economic profile, as Phil introduced. The idea is not to open and profound discussion, but just to show you a quick overview of some current data and show you an actual situation. So I organized this presentation in 2 parts. On the left side, you can see I will show you some current data, and on the right side you will see some pictures of Brazilian cities, just as a kind of quick virtual tour through Brazilian cities and beautiful places that we have here. So if you analyze world ranking of gross domestic product, in 2019 Brazil was among the 10 biggest economies in the world. It was on the 9th place with 1.8 trillion US dollars of GDP. And if we analyze the forecast for 2020, so it's expected that Brazil will go to 12th place with 1.3 trillion of US dollars GDP due to pandemic crisis. But if we analyze the data of every quarter, so we can see that variation of GDP, Brazilian GDP, was not so expressive in 2019, but Brazilian economy was impacted in first quarter with 1.5 negative variation, and it was deeply impacted in second quarter with 9.7% of variation, negative variation. But still, the data, recent data, are showing that the variation of the third quarter is 9%. So Brazilian economy has almost recovered the negative result of second quarter. So this makes us very optimistic about all in all year results. So Brazil has the 5th biggest territory in the world, and it's the 9th biggest consumption market according to World Ranking of Consumption Expenditure. It's strategically located in Latin America, and most of the companies which are landing here, they use Brazil to manufacture its goods and services and export it to all countries of Latin America. Because Brazil is a full member of Mercosur trade bloc, and it's also a member of World Trade Organization and Latin American Integration Association. So there are a lot of tax benefits between this inflow and outflow of goods and services between Brazil and other Latin American countries. So if we analyze the whole in all scenario of the velocity of mobility recovery and economic recovery, so we can see that Brazil is right in the middle of other countries in this project, in this progress of recovery. So we see that there are only 2 countries, that is Vietnam and Taiwan, that has completely recovered the economy to the same level before the COVID crisis, and Brazil is coming close to it. So if we analyze the variation of export and import laws by major sectors, an export, for example, for ferrous metals, chemicals, and machinery, the forecast is to have variation between 2 to 3%. But all in all, the result is only 1% difference. So it shows us clearly that there are some new economical sectors which are increasing its export operations much more than usual. And this makes parts of a global supply chain redistribution phenomena. So if we analyze the data of foreign direct investment inflows in 2019, Brazil was the country that had received the 4th biggest volume of FDI inflows. And if we see the all in all global FDI scenario, the forecast is that in 2020 and more specifically in 2021, it will be around approximately 40% lower than the level of foreign direct investment in 2019. But still, there is a forecast that at the end of 2022, it will reach almost the same amount of 2019. So if we would like to introduce you quickly at Santa Catarina state that is located in the south of Brazil. And according to Public Leadership Organization that works heavily with the competitive rankings with all states of Brazil, Santa Catarina state is the 2nd most competitive state in Brazil. So in this state mapper, you can see that we have here a mix of innovation centers and innovation poles and industrial poles. So all in all in the state, we have currently 15 innovation centers, and we have also Florianopolis, that is state capital, that is recognized as a Brazilian Silicon Valley due to very vast information technology industry here. And we have also 6 industrial poles distributed in all the state, most specifically in agribusiness, heavy industry, furniture, textile, ocean economy, and plastics. So these are some examples of success cases of multinational companies that which had landed here in Santa Catarina state successfully. So we have here BMW factory, Whirlpool factory, Takata factory, and some others multinational companies. So these are my personal data. If please feel free to get in touch, and I will be delighted to reply all your doubts. And now I would like to show you a quick video about Santa Catarina State, which shows you a little bit more information. I will just stop sharing the screen and I will show you the video. Just a second. Can you see my screen now?
Not yet.
Can you see it now?
Yes, it's okay.
Okay.
Just please.
Santa Catarina is built with heritage throughout, and its history puts it in a prominent place among the Brazilian states. We have the best average national growth, the third best state in the country's ranking of human development, the second best state in the Brazilian competitiveness ranking. The innovation ecosystem of Santa Catarina has been growing a lot, and Joinville, Jaraguá do Sul, Itajaí, Blumenau and Florianopolis have been standing out in the startup market. The Florianopolis region is home to the largest number of innovation-driven companies in the state and is increasingly attracting startups from abroad to settle in Santa Catarina. The state has 13 new innovation centres to leverage the culture of innovation and entrepreneurship in the various regions of Santa Catarina. The port of Itajaí is the second largest in Brazil in container handling. In the industrial sector, Santa Catarina is one of the great economic forces of the country, home to a wide range of industrial segments such as machinery and metalworking, automotive, plastics, ceramics, furniture and textiles. Santa Catarina is the state chosen by several world-class companies. The technology applied to agro-cultivation is always standing out as a reference in the agribusiness sector. With a coastline of 531 kilometres, Santa Catarina has strong seafood, marine, port and maritime transport and ocean resource industries. High productivity at sea linked to shipyards and ports make our state a favourable ecosystem for the maritime economy. Third in the country's education ranking. The state capital, Florianopolis, is rated as the second best city to live in Brazil. Rated as the state with the second highest quality of life in the country. Florianopolis is the second most visited destination by foreign tourists in Brazil. The strong economic appeal of the state of Santa Catarina reflects excellent investment opportunities in logistics such as railways and roads. The outstanding opportunities for investment in Santa Catarina's economy are innovation, industry, agribusiness, marine and logistics. When the world hears about Brazil, remember Santa Catarina as the best state in the country to invest in.
Thank you very
So
much.
this is it.
Thank you so much for your presentation. So we're going to go to our next speaker. So this is Maysa Fischer. So Maysa Fischer is a founder of Fischer Law Firm. She has worked as an in-house attorney during 23 years for a global company holding the function of a chief legal counsel, encompassing businesses in the US, Europe, Asia, Central and Latin America. She's highly experienced in Brazilian investment overseas, foreign direct investment in Brazil, Paraguay, and Mexico. Maysa is an expert in mergers and acquisitions transactions, joint ventures, research and risk assessment, among other specialties related to legal, tax, and investments. So Maysa, thank you very much for being here. So please.
Thank you, Phil. Thank you. Congratulations, Julia. Wonderful presentation.
Thank you,
and moving on with our joint presentation, now we would like to disclose the best estimates for 2021 based upon the premise that we will be there for all investors who would consider Brazil, and more specifically Santa Catarina, as a strategic place for their foreign direct investment and exports to take off. There is the safe environment down here from the political, economic, and legal standpoints. Intellectual property, agreements, and international money flow in and out by regular exchange operations, for instance, are respected, granted, and enforced. As you can perceive by the numbers on this slide, we are enjoying the running of a stable economy under full recovery, meantime the pandemic environment, as Julia has shown so well. It is actually heated up, and the reforms since 2016 onwards triggered Brazil return to the game in a better position. Local strengths, as pointed out, can drive your strategic planning to our country and state. Once in South America, there is no other match regarding withholding tax-free on the distribution of dividends or profits. Santa Catarina on top means that our state is more competitive than Brazil itself, or Sao Paulo, Rio de Janeiro, and Minas Gerais, which hold an international acknowledgement as the major leading economic centers. Our state is ranked much better than those, as you can easily see on the slides. There is a pro-business environment with VAT fiscal benefits to the companies who are incorporated herein or export to and import by Santa Catarina ports, inclusive those who purchase inputs from our local suppliers. Besides, by the video shown before and the facts on the slide, you can understand the reasons why Santa Catarina has been rewarded with 2020 Excellence in Competitiveness by OECD International Highlight category. The pillars were social sustainability, public security, and public administration efficiency, reaching out score 100, which makes us very, very proud of our state. Here we are hardworking people with entrepreneurs and employees committed to generate wealth and jobs for all, with the highest rank nationwide in terms of generation of new working positions, and at the same time beating the lowest rank of unemployment in Brazil, which is actually lower than Germany, which has disclosed yesterday to be 5.9% in November 20. Investors can operate in our country and state according to those corporate alternatives. Due to the exchange rate, we are a cheap site for the acquisition of existing business, and there is plenty of companies available to be purchased or merged. The incorporation of a new company can be speed up these days, and the most frequently incorporated are limited liability with a single or more than one partner, can be used for any business purpose. 2, joint stock, at least 2 shareholders. It is usual that industries pick up this type of listed or non-listed company. 3, LLC, which with special purpose. If the investors desire to explore only one scope, headed, for example, to hotel, education, or tourism services, this is the best option. Or investment agreement, we call it also partnerships, with a Brazilian ostensive partner and a foreign investor who is safeguarded and just shares the income of the business free of liabilities, headed for the construction industry, for example. All of them are safe and lawful, and the lawful way to do the business in Brazil can be done through either of them. Now, good news, upcoming tax reform. Last but not least, this is good news in the Brazilian parliament, who is committed to reach out a tax reform in 2021, which contributes to a less demanding system, offering to taxpayers a lean and quick collecting flow. The main targets are the decreased GDP tax levy on consumption and collection complexity, as well as to generate uniformity amongst economic sectors and companies. 3 bills are under debate at the House of Representatives, focusing the extinction of 5 types of taxes on consumption. However, none of them consider to extinct taxation on income or reduces its rates. The purpose, on the other hand, is to easier the tax collecting system, which has been twisted along the years. In short, that is what is going on these days in Brazil and in Santa Catarina, and we were very, very much appreciate the opportunity to be in touch with you all, allowing us to share those updates with the hope that you may consider Brazil, and more specifically Santa Catarina, as your next prospecting spot. You can count on us, on the whole team of Global Chamber in Joinville and in the South region. Many thanks. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you very much, Maysa, for this excellent presentation. So we're going to go now to our next speaker, which is Nicolas. So Nicolas is specialized in international freight and logistics. He has worked with the DHL team as a trade lane manager for Latin America, then head of trade lane management. After 7 years in Germany, he moved to Brazil in 2013, where he acted as a regional sales manager and sponsor for German accounts. In 2018, Nicolas joined Schryver as head of sales, and since the beginning of the year, he's back in Germany as a managing director for Schryver globally. So thank you very much. So it's your turn now. Nicolas Jolivet, please.
Thank you, Phil. Thank you, everybody, for being here. It's a great pleasure to be. It's an honor, actually, to be here and to have this few minutes to show you a little bit of our knowledge and the possibility of business opportunities in Brazil. My presentation will be focused on the southern state, Santa Catarina, where Joinville and Florianopolis are the main cities, and where all these production centers are located in, and where we have already seen some really good information from other slides. So I will start on. We have a very interesting in terms of foreign trade and logistics that verbalize the opportunities for foreign companies to exchange and to import export all type of goods, manufactured goods and raw material and so on to the different type of fronts from all over the world. Brazil is a very open country, and Santa Catarina is a very open state to do international business. So the main ways to enter into the states we divided into basically the ports and the airports, the railways and the highways. This is the let's say the most common ones, and which the representation that each one takes into this state, it's percent of the traded goods and the FOB values are through seaports, and around 12% it's on the highways, and then a very only 2% of the total value is transported through the air freight, right? Let's talk about first the highways. Santa Catarina, it's let's say it has a very good highway structure and a network from federal highways to state highways. There is a very interesting index about the number of cars and number of trucks per 100 people, let's say the units, and Santa Catarina State has over 41 units per 100 people in general, and over almost 40 cars per 100 people. That's really interesting, and an interesting fact that shows the development of the region and abilities that allowed us to foreign companies to do business with it within the state, right? The trucks, of course, it's over the average on Brazil. It's over 2.14 trucks per 100 people, and the buses is a little bit lower. But I'd say in terms of cars and trucks are really above the average of Brazil as a country. Then we have the railways as a next transport method. The railways, it's basically controlled by two main companies in Brazil. One of them is called America Latina Logística, or ALL, and then Ferrovia Teresa Cristina, or FTC. These are mainly the two monopoles that controls the trade of goods through the railway system. Just a short overview over the system. I will show you two things. One maybe not so good, and the other one a little bit maybe putting some hope on it. If we compare the railway system in Brazil with other countries like Russia, like Germany, for example, where I am right now, USA, it's really behind those countries, of course, because from the beginning it was more concentrated on the road network system and not on the railway, right? But this opens a very important opportunity for foreign companies to expand this within the country, because there is a big interest from the politicals, from different types of governmental organizations and institutions to expand this railway. And there are a lot of new projects coming in that will help us to increase this diversification of the network, railway network in Brazil. Today, it's basically used for let's say soy and corn and raw materials that are transported for mostly export purposes to the main ports of Santa Catarina, which are located in the north of the state. Then the next one are the ports, of course, and they will see the for let's say most of the income of the state as well as for Brazil, and they're really very interesting because they the last 10 years was amazingly pushed up by the open trade that Brazil is having with one of the countries, and not only let's say globally, internationally, but also they are responsible for some also of the Mercosur expansions that was mentioned also in this presentation. So we have basically 5 main ports in Santa Catarina. Let's say the 4th ones on the north, from Itapoá, São Francisco do Sul, Navegantes, and Itajaí. They are the really important ones, which concentrates most of the volume. And then we have another located in south of Florianopolis, which is called Ibituba. And let's say if we sum up all the trade and all the TUs transported to the north ports, they represent more than 20% of the total Brazil traded volume. So it has a very interesting impact on the economy. Yeah, last but not least, we have also the infrastructure, let's say the airports, and we have basically Florianopolis, Navegantes, Joinville, Criciúma, and Chapecó as a main airports, where let's say the international airport right now it's Florianopolis, where some destinations are covered. Recently, new this is a short overview about the big airports and the regional aviation. Of course, these are only supporting very few airlines, but the regional, let's say the international aviation, basically there are 2 main airports that they were opened to investors in the last few years. One of this is in Joinville, and the other one it's in Florianopolis. And these 2 ones now gained international flights with the US and with Argentina, with Paraguay, and also with local connections in Brazil. They opened new possibilities for international trade and the cargo infrastructure, right? So there are, of course, much more domestic flights from the history than international flights, but now the international flights cargo it's gaining more and more importance, and we see then this infraero chart where we see that the international flights are cooperating for the international trade even more and more. Well, Florianopolis has more or less 60% of the passengers movements and in 2015, of course, and now this number it's growing even more. So this is just a few facts and figures from the past 6 years, from 2010 to 2016, about the number of flights and the passengers from the regional airports. Infraero is still being the main controller, but right now we are opening even more and more to foreign investment companies to handling to do the handling airports, and this is opening also new opportunities of expansion. Probably we will some news in the next few years, which are new airports coming up, and expansions at the actual airports, like expansion of the taxiways and the capacity to receive larger aircrafts. So this is basically my 7 minutes. Really appreciate your time, and hope we can ask you some answer some questions of you.
Thank you very much, Nicolas. That was an awesome presentation. Thank you so much. So we're going to go to our last section now, which is for this section, Jarko Imbasaí So we were supposed to have also Helena with us, but due to health issues, unfortunately, she won't be here with us. But Jaco is gonna do all this this fourth section. So please, Jaco, you can go with this cultural specificities of Brazil.
Okay, good afternoon, Phil. Good afternoon, all the colleagues and all the attendees. It's a great honor to be with you this afternoon, this morning or night, depending on where you are.
Jaco. Just before you stop, as you go, sorry, I wanted to introduce you, of course. So you acted for more than 30 years in multinational companies based in Rio de Janeiro, São Paulo, and also Joinville as a C-level sales and marketing executive. So apart from being owner of Embassy Consulting for more than 15 years, you also, Jack was also dedicated to academic activities today as a postgraduate teacher in universities located in the Jolivet area. So please, Jaco, go ahead now, please.
Okay, thank you, Phil. Once again, thank you for having you here, everybody, and all the colleagues, and congratulations for all the previous presentations. And during my 6-7 minutes presentation, we are gonna approach the cultural specificities of Brazil. As Phil said, it was meant to be made with Helena, but unfortunately she is not here. Helena, I hope I can do my best as if you were by my side. So let's start the presentation. Let me share my screen here. It's here. Share. Okay. So let me just start the slides. Okay. So this presentation, as Phil said, and has been made by Helena, who is the owner of Trading, and me, I'm the owner of IC Comics for 15 years already. Here we use the two models. First, we use the Hofstede's model, which has been one of the models proposed, because in the last 50 years, we've been facing this challenge, this cultural challenge, because the world is more globalized and we have different types of cultures and different types of way of establishing the relationships. And so several studies were made so that we could try to find a way to make things work the best possible between two different cultures, two different ways of being. And the Hofstede's model is one of them. This model applies basically a few variables. Power distance, which measures this dimension deals with the fact that all individuals in societies are not equal. It expresses the attitude of the culture towards these inequalities amongst us. So the power distance varies depending on the countries. Here on this graphic, we can see how this blue line changes from country to country. It's more strong in Portugal, for example, in Mexico, and then also in Brazil. And the power distance is this variable where we respect the hierarchy of the people involved in the negotiation process. The individualism, which is the orange line here, this one characterizes the way the society values the relations, how individual or how collective the society is. Here in Brazil, we have a degree of individualism of 38. This scale goes from 0 to 100, so we stay at 38. And it means that we value the individualism, and normally we have a very strong tendency to make a formal benefit to parents, to cousins, to relatives, and even professionals that we start to work with, and we may consider them as a part of our family. This is a characteristic of Brazilian culture. Masculinity, as you see here, this gray line, It's association not with the gender thing. It's associated with the characteristics, how driven by competition culture is. So we have the masculinity and the femininity variables. So Brazil is classified as 49. The middle is 50. So we have 49 of masculinity and 51 of femininity. So we are very well balanced country on this matter. We have the uncertainty avoidance, which is the orange, the light yellow line here. And this one is how we do with how the society works with the fact that the future can never be known. The future, we do not control the future. How is going to be tomorrow? Is there's going to be a pandemic or it's going to end? How do we face challenges like that? So the uncertainty and avoidance by Latin American countries normally is high, and our rate here in Brazil is 76. So it's extremely, extremely high. The long-term orientation, I have to speed up because I have only 6 minutes, guys. The long-term orientation shows how our society, every society maintain links with our traditions, with our past, with the people and the beloved ones who came before us, and that's why we're here. So that's the long-term orientation, the blue line. And the indulgency, it's the extent how people control their impulses. Everybody wants to live and how they live their lives, and the higher the indulgency, the higher is the impulse to live their lives, to enjoy the life. So this changes also from one culture to other. So let's speed up. What I just spoke on the slide before is shown here, and this presentation is going to be available on Field to everybody after we finish. This will be with all of you. Here we have Alder model, which is we call the Lewis model. Lewis, it's another professional who made this model based on his experience, and I have here his history. This been used since the 1990s, and Lewis, after visiting 135 countries and working in more than 20 of them, he came up to the conclusion that we human beings, we can be divided in 3 categories, based not on nationality or religion, but on behavior. So we can be classified as multi-active, linear active, or reactive. And here you can see on this slide how this varies from one country to another. On the next slide, we have a brief description, and this will also stay with you, of how they behave. So if we are talking about negotiating with Americans, they talk half the time. We talk here in Brazil most of the time. If we are talking with Chinese or Japanese or Korean, they listen most of the time. And so we have here all the different variables that apply to each culture, to each people. Phil, I think we don't have time to talk one by one, but this will stay with you all as a guide for future opportunities. Regarding our region, let's talk about Latin America and also other region, how we could make a comparison using some variables here. For example, in Latin America, what's the initial requirements for a negotiation? They are moderate. You have to go to the meeting relative well prepared, know who is the person you're going to talk with or to, how is their company, what they do exactly. You have to have this moderate level of preparation. Once we have arguments, we have to approach them one by one. We can't mix it, otherwise there might be some kind of confusion. The formality here in Latin America, we are very informal. Generally speaking, we are very talkative. We are emotional. So that's a characteristic of the region. We make concessions very slowly, although we are very open-minded and talkative and emotional. We slowly make concessions. And once we have disagreements, we are very argumentative. We talk, we discuss, and we go deeply into the matter. And as I explained it here, we have also for the other regions, for North America, for the Europe region, the Occidental region, the Oriental part of Europe, the Middle East and North Africa, Asian Pacific, and also the Sub-Saharan African region. And we have all the different behaviors for each and every region. Here, I made a special slide for all those attendees that are outside Brazil and would like to know more about our country, our most important states and provinces. And I made here a comparison with Helena with the 6 major reasons that are responsible for, I have here, 68% of the Brazilian GDP. Those 6 states respond for 52% of the population of the country. We have estimated now 210 million Brazilians, and living in the 6 regions, we have 110 million Brazilians. Okay, so in Minas...
We need to move on, please.
Yes?
Please move on a little bit. We're going to the end of this part.
Okay, so we need to finish?
Yes, please.
Okay, sure, no problem. So here we have all these characteristics according to each one of the regions, and afterwards I remain at your entire disposal for any doubts that you might have. Here you have Helena's contacts, email and WhatsApp and LinkedIn, and also mine, and that's it. Thanks a lot for your time, and I remain at your disposal for any doubts.
Very much, Jaco, for this great presentation. The time is short, but we need to go to the next part, which is question and answers. If we have some questions from people attending this session. I may have a question that we can ask. Maybe this is going to be for Maysa, probably. So what can we say about the strategic planning of Santa Catarina State in terms of investment and tax benefits? And what makes Santa Catarina attractive in particular?
Yes, Phil, as I have mentioned on my presentation, we have fiscal benefits here in our state, which can be pretty much attractive to investors or exporters that use the ports, the local ports that we have in a very outstanding number. I mean, Santa Catarina is the only state that has 5 ports available for cargo and commodities, and this is very unique in our country. So about the fiscal benefits, the most easier to understand is that when the company is incorporated in Santa Catarina and uses the local companies in the state for its supplies, it can be a very sensitive reduction of VAT tax. The rate actually. So this is again an incentive for the incorporation and the establishment of the companies in our state instead of others. This is, I mean, as shown on the video that we have minutes ago, this is a huge opportunity because Santa Catarina is very diversified. So you can really have a supply chain established in our state and get this tax reduction, which makes your company much more competitive. About the rates and so forth, Phil, I rather prefer not to mention because they have been changed recently, and maybe there is a change again in the coming months. So, but it's for sure is that there is tax reduction. It's very sensitive, and I don't know if Julia has the rates in her mind to help. But I think it was reduced from 70%, it's lower than 70% the tax rate when you have your supply chain established in our state.
Okay, thank you very much, Maysa. We have a question from Doug, who is asking, how about ease of doing business in Brazil? Getting better. Is it getting better?
It's getting better. I don't know. Shall I reply? You pick who shall reply this. It's getting better because I'm just going to, let's say, finish my sentence here. It's going better because now to incorporate a company where you have an articles of association in a standard manner built up, you can get your company registered, recorded, and with the fiscal code as well granted in 3 days. So for us, this is a huge change because Brazil was very, very behind other countries in that topic. So we are feeling that, that Brazil is coming back to the game in many, many sectors, in many ways. And Santa Catarina, by far, has an international level of performance, which makes us so proud and so optimistic and so certain to invite investors to choose Santa Catarina to establish the business in Brazil.
Okay, thank you very much, Maysa. So part of it was already addressed, part of it, but we have another question from Doug, who is asking how we can compare southern Brazil with where we are today with doing business in other parts of the country. Some differences that we can have, and also if we extend this question to other parts of the South American continent. So what can we say about this? I would like to answer this question.
I think that Julia can help also with infos in that respect. You are on mute, Julia, if you want to contribute, and Jarko, and of course, Nicolas.
Yes, sure. We can see in last years that there is a huge progress and ease of doing business relating to Santa Catarina state and south of Brazil as a whole. Santa Catarina is most likely compared with some European countries, because although it has a small territory comparing the territory of Brazil, but it's extremely highly competitive state, a highly developed state, and it has a great GDP, internal GDP. And we have a strong public policies that seeks this increasing of ease of doing business. For example, in the capital of Santa Catarina, we have increased ease of doing business for several positions, and now it takes 1 to 2 days to open a new company. And also there is a strong work being done to facilitate some other bureaucratic procedures. So we clearly see the great progress on it. And we can share some exact data if you wish in another opportunity. But the scenario is very promising right now. Jarko, do you want to complement?
Sure. Doug, regarding doing business with other regional countries, first of all, the chart information, I will make it available to all of you. I have the data which shows everything. And so as soon as we finish, Doug, I'm going to prepare this incentive field. But getting back to the other countries, you asked about Argentina, Chile, Colombia, and Ecuador. Okay, let's go one by one quickly. Argentina Argentina is facing a critical moment, political risk extremely high, and their economy is very fragilized. So my view here as a as a teacher and also specialist on credit risk, we are very precautious regarding Argentina. But since they are our neighbors, we are trying to do what we can to help them speed up their recovery. Regarding Chile, it has always been classified as one of the best or the best South American countries to do business. They are very well located logistically speaking because they're facing the Pacific. So they have very well trade relations with China. So Chile is a very nice country to do business also. Colombia, Colombia also is after they solved all those guerrillas and FARC problems and they get closer to the US, they are going very well. Colombia is also fine. And Ecuador is, it's depending too much on the US, has some potential, but their economy is not so huge. I hope that I quickly responded to your questions.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much to all. So we're getting to the end of this webinar, Landing Business in Brazil. So that was a great pleasure to organize this event on behalf of the Global Chamber Joinville. So many thanks to the participants today. We hope the information passed on was met your expectations. And I would like also to thank our speakers, Julia, Maysa, Nicolas, and Jaco, for their brilliant about doing business in Brazil. Let me tell you, you're in good hands. So we'll do anything we can to help you. So we have all the questions that we were not able to answer today, but I took note of them and we'll answer them as soon as possible. So I would like to give a special thanks also to Doug and Cesar for their always valuable support to the events that we organize as a Global Chamber. So thank you, Doug. Thank you, Cesar. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day, and we hope to see you or to hear about you very soon so that we can help you in doing business in Brazil. Thank you very much. Have a great day.